So, I believe we're online again for our final program, which is called Wisdom Books, and it's based on the books of the promised Messiah, the Messiah promised by many religions all over the world, from Hinduism to Islam to Christianity to possibly Judaism, even the second coming. So,
Yes, yes.
so we're discussing these books for a couple of reasons, but the main reason, I suppose, is if this person, the promised Messiah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, born in Guardian in India, was truly the Messiah, his writings, the Messiah who is supposed to save humanity, then his writings, his books, must be something very special, and so it makes sense. We've got to discuss them. We've got to see if they're really that good. Can somebody just pick the book up and read it and be amazed? But that's clearly not the case, because these books have been around for about 100 years, and still they aren't the biggest, they aren't blockbusters or bestsellers for whatever reason. So we're going to go through one book at a time, and this particular book is The Philosophy of the Teachings of Islam, obviously written by, there you go, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the promised Messiah and the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, or the community. Originally it was written in Urdu and translated by Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan, and I say Sir because he was a knight in this country, is that right?
In British India.
British India,
Yeah.
fine. So let's just Mr. Naseem, I'm so used to saying Sahib, so I will. Okay, so Naseem Sahib, could you introduce this book and tell us why it's so great, maybe?
Yes. You see, the first thing is that in 1896, one Hindu scholar had this idea that he should invite the leaders of all the sects, and he gave them 5 questions, and he said that please answer these 5 questions according to your own books, and he said, I will arrange a public meeting. I'll call the public, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, everybody, and let people hear the answers to those fundamental questions, and let people decide which religion gives satisfactory answers to those basic questions related to religion.
Okay.
So that gentleman sent the invitation to all the big leaders of India, and they included, Muslim, Christian, Jews, Hindus, everyone in fact, and he gave them the 5 questions. I think let's read those 5 questions.
Yeah.
The 5 questions was, first question was the physical, moral and spiritual states of man.
Yeah.
What are the physical, moral and spiritual states of man? And second question was that what is the state of man after death?
Sure.
And third question was that what is the object of man's life, and what are the means of its attainment? And the fourth question was that the operation of the practical ordinance of the law in this life and the next. That means that how our action affect our life in this world and in the next life. And the fifth question, the last question, was what are the sources of divine knowledge? So these are fundamental questions, which everybody wants to know the answers. So it so happened that Masih Maud accepted this, the promised Messiah, the founder of the Ahmadiyya community. He accepted this invitation happily, and while he was writing the answers to these questions, he received revelation from God Almighty that when this paper will be read, or these answers will be read in the public meeting, then people will agree to it that these answers are the best answers.
Sure.
Now, he not only just received the revelation, he also publicized it before the meeting took place.
Right.
And you can understand that if anybody says like that, it will aggravate, it will
Sure.
make some people angry. Oh,
So he
why?
said, I've had a prophecy from
Yeah,
God
yeah.
that my book, not even my book, my
Yeah.
lecture
My,
will turn out to be the best, because this is basically a
Yeah,
lecture
that's right.
put into a book.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
and he prophesied that
He
everybody
prophesied, yeah.
who came to the lecture, or everybody, it was widely known that
Yeah.
when they came to the lecture, they heard that when this thing is going to come,
Mm.
this man, the promised Messiah, Muslim, claims that it's going to be the best.
Mm. Now, when this advertisement was published and circulated, of course, it had to attract people's attention, and then also some people had to oppose it as well, because everybody thinks that their religion is the best religion.
Sure.
You see?
Okay.
So what they did, especially those who are already opposing the founder of the community because of his claims and all that, they especially asked their followers that the best way of making this program unsuccessful is that you don't go there at all.
Okay.
So they
Right.
started having the meetings
Sure.
and also publicizing some letters and instructions that they asked their people, don't go there, so that nobody is there to listen, and then what he will be able to, how he will be able to say that my lecture is the best lecture.
Sure.
So they thought this is the best way.
Okay.
Now, on the other hand, because God told the founder of the community that yes, I will make sure that this meeting does take place successfully, and people listen to it, and then also they agree what God has said.
Sure.
So it so happened that the capacity of the hall, whatever capacity it was, people came much more than that, and there were many people who were just standing because the chairs were full, or whatever the place was there.
Sure.
And
What numbers are we talking about? How many people roughly do you know?
as far as I remember, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the capacity was about 700 something.
That's quite a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. It's not a
But,
small hall.
No,
okay.
no, it was quite big place.
Right.
And then you see, there are much more people there.
Sure.
Now, so first thing is that God proved His words that I will bring the people.
Right.
So despite the religious leaders of particularly Muslims,
Sure.
and as you know, because the place was Lahore and the people in Lahore were mostly Muslims.
Sure.
So God proved His words true, and people did come there. Now, when the answers were read, of course, other people also read their answers. When Prophet Messiah's lecture was read out,
Yeah.
what happened that because these questions answers were very sort of comprehensive and quite long one, this is why he was only able to give the answer to the first question within the allocated time.
Right. Okay.
And after that, and in fact that is the quite long answer. For other question, comparatively the answers are short, because he thought that first question is fundamental question. If you get the answer for that, it will cover so many other things.
Okay. And that fundamental question was, could you repeat, sorry?
The states of man. You see, the question
Right.
was just a minute. The physical, moral, and spiritual states of man.
Right.
So this was the question.
I'm just wondering, why does that matter anyway?
You see, it matters because every human being
Yeah.
has these aspects of his life. Physical means your body,
Yeah.
and moral is of course how you conduct yourself with other human beings. That is moral.
Sure.
Your interaction with other people. And third is your relationship with God, your creator. So these are the things. If your body is good, then you can perform all of the duties.
Right.
So this is why, first of all, you have to make sure that your body is in good condition.
So it doesn't seem to have a question mark at the end. That's why I'm a bit confused.
Yes, because it is now it is written in that way, but
Right.
it is in fact these were the questions. I mean,
Did it
it is
actually
explained.
say?
It's explained inside the book. It
Right.
is explained that these were the 5 questions given.
Right. Okay.
So now, what happened that when the answer for the first question finished,
Yeah.
now it was up to um, the organizers to decide whether they will give him some more time, or they'll say that's enough, and or whatever they say. But you know what happened, that the public themselves, they shouted, that said we want to listen the whole of
Right.
whole lecture. But then the organizer said that how is it possible? The only other possibility is that we extend 1 day.
Sure.
Previously, it was the meeting was only for 3 days.
Sure.
But they said that, are you ready to come for the 4th day as well?
Sure. Okay.
You see, people said yes, we would like to come.
Right.
So on the request and demand of the people, 1 day was extended,
right.
only for the sake of the lecture of
Sure.
the
And of course, we're not just claiming this. These are recorded in
these are all,
newspapers.
yes, these are all
Yeah.
historical record. And in
Yeah.
fact, you know, in the beginning of this book,
Yeah.
you can see those sort of statements or opinions of the people,
Yes.
and all the procedure whatever took place,
Yeah.
what the newspaper of that time said. So what happened, that after the people demanded that we like to have 1 day more, so 1 day was extended,
Right.
and then the whole lecture was listened by the people.
Mhm.
After it was finished, people were so happy that then the newspaper of Lahore and Pakistan, of that area, they said clearly that yes, we heard all these lectures, and we would like to say that this was the opinion of all the people who were present there, that the best lecture was the lecture of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian. Now you see, this is already printed in the newspaper of that time.
So I'm showing them the same sort of things.
Yeah.
So
Different. They
yeah.
can see these pages. You know, first, you know, a grand piece of news for seekers of truth after truth. That's also
yeah.
given.
So when you get this particular book,
Yeah.
all of these references to
Yeah.
different newspaper articles
Yeah.
are in there.
Civil and Military Gazette Lahore newspaper
Sure.
said that was the paper of Mirza Sahib was the best
Right.
paper.
Right.
Similarly, Chaudhry Sadi Rawalpindi, that also said the same thing.
Right.
Then General O. Gohar Asifi, Calcutta, that paper also said the same thing. Then what's the next? So all these papers,
Sure.
they and then you see there are some other people who gave their opinion, like, you know, Bristol Times and Mirror
Sure.
wrote that surely the man who addresses Europe and America in this manner can be no ordinary being. And then in the Spiritual Journal of Boston, I wrote that this book is good news for the whole human race.
Right. Okay.
You see, this
So,
kind of things are said by
As usual, our time is so limited. I think the right thing to do is dive into this book
That's right.
and just see what we can discuss. And maybe we'll change the format in the future. We'll have to discuss that. So maybe we need more time. We'll see, or we can just present it over a number of. Sorry. So anyway, so we've got 3 types. Okay, I have to say I've had a look at this book, and then I got a bit confused about different things. One is, I want this book to be really exciting right from the beginning, okay? And I don't feel it is. It says, it starts by talking about the 3 types of states of humanity. There's, you can tell me better, but there's the animal state, there's the state where we're trying to improve ourselves, and then there's the final state where we sort of, maybe we're free somehow, and we're being made free from our evil urges, if that's my own summary. But so what? That's not that interesting. I want a really exciting book right from the beginning, because this is supposed to be the written by the person who's going to save humanity. So what do you say about that?
The first thing which I will say that those who have read this book, only they can give you the opinion.
Okay.
And sometimes you see there are some books which are very deep, and you need to read them more than once.
Okay.
First time when you read, you understand few things, but not much. And then you read the second time, then you read the third time.
But this was a lecture, and the people just heard it once.
Yes. So whatever it was, as I have said, that the newspaper of that time has already written that this was well received by the people.
Sure.
You see.
Yeah.
So we are. It's not that we are saying it. It's,
Sure.
it's the newspaper of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so. It is possible that the level of understanding of those people who were present there, that was much higher than this ordinary person.
Sure.
Okay. This can be the reason.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
After all, every country and every age is different.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you see people were intellectual and they were able to comprehend these things.
Right. Okay. So there weren't just people walking in the street
No.
stopping.
No.
Okay. There were intellectuals who
Yeah.
really. Okay. Sure.
So this is why even in this country, when any intellectual person will read it, then he will be able to make some opinion. Now I remember some example now. I came here in '75, and the first English person who became Ahmadi through me,
Right.
he was Mr. Mackenzie, was his name.
Yahya Mackenzie?
No.
some other Mackenzie.
That is Yahya Mackenzie, very young person.
man. Sorry. Yes. Okay.
So he used to work in underground
Yeah.
as I think a driver or a guard,
Sure.
something. And he was introduced to Ahmadiyyat by one Ahmadi who was working with him
Right.
in underground, this London
Yeah.
underground.
Sure.
So once that Ahmadi gave him this book, Philosophy of the Teaching of Islam,
Sure.
and because they became a friend, and then our Ahmadi told him about Islam, and then he said, please give me some book. So our Ahmadi gave him this book.
Sure.
So after reading that book,
Yeah.
he himself said to our Ahmadi brother, can I meet any of your priest,
Sure.
so that I can ask him some more questions?
Right.
So that means only by reading this book,
Sure.
I don't know how many times he read it,
Sure.
but he became so much interested
Yeah.
that he said, I want to meet somebody who has more knowledge about religion. So then a meeting was arranged between me and him in South Hall. I used to live in on 41 Everest Road on those days.
Okay. All right.
So he was invited
Sure.
there.
Okay.
So we had a meeting,
I
like
see.
you and me are sitting,
Right.
and the third person was that Ahmadi who invited him.
Sure.
Now he said to me, okay, I have read the book, and I've also I liked this book, but the thing is, as you are saying that your community suggest that anybody who agrees with us, he should become a regular member of the community by signing the Ba'ath form. But he said that I don't know this man. Who is this man? I mean, I just I read one book, that's enough, but I don't know that a particular person whom I should accept as my leader. So how I can accept him? How I can join this Ahmadi community? I answered him, have you seen Jesus Christ? He said no. I said, then why do you call yourself Christian then? And how many Muslims are there who can say that they have seen Prophet Muhammad? They have not seen Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Similarly, how many Jews have seen Moses? But they are Jew. Why? Because they have read the teaching of those people and they have accepted it. In the same way, if you agree with the explanation of religion as given by the founder of the Ahmadi community in this book, Philosophy of the Teaching of Islam, if you agree with that explanation of religion, if you think that there is nothing contradictory to your own views, or there is nothing illogical, or there is nothing, and everything which is said that makes sense for you, and it is, if you act upon it, that will improve your quality of life. If you think so,
Mm.
then you don't need to see that person. In fact, you are going to act upon the teachings.
Mm.
So if it is good, it is good. If it is not good, then you just leave it.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then I asked him the question. Now tell
Yeah.
me, do you find anything wrong in this book,
Mm.
or is there anything which is against the reason and logic, or which is not useful? Can you say?
Mm.
He said, no, I agree with each and everything.
Mm.
Then I said, then why don't you join this community? What's the difficulty then?
Sure.
He said, okay, I'm
Okay.
ready. I'm ready, and he signed the bath form.
Sure.
So it
Okay,
means
sounds good, man.
that this book,
Yeah.
there are some people who are made like that.
Right.
They can understand this book and they
Right.
can appreciate.
Sure.
Similarly, I give you another example. Our first English Muslim missionary,
Sure.
Mr. Bashir Orchard.
Yes.
I met him several times. Now
Sure.
he has passed away.
Sure.
He was, I think, lieutenant in the British Army
Right.
in India.
Sure.
And there he met some Ahmadis. Then
Yeah.
he was introduced to Ahmadiyyat. He came to Qadian at the headquarters, and he started, reading some books and meeting Ahmadis.
Mm.
And he became interested, and ultimately, by the grace of Allah, he became Ahmadi.
Sure.
Now later on, he was appointed as missionary in Scotland,
Sure.
in Glasgow. Now I personally met him, and I asked him, how you became Ahmadi and what has impressed you very much. So always he said to me,
When you say Ahmadi, you mean Ahmadi Muslim, which is
member of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community.
yes,
Yes.
the revival of true Islam.
That's
Yes.
right.
Okay.
So always he answered. He said, the best book which I have ever read on Islam is the philosophy of the teaching of Islam.
Mm.
And he said, I have read it at least 20 times.
Sure.
And he said, still I don't feel that I have learnt everything. He said, every time I read it, I find something new.
Mm.
So it is such a profound book.
Okay. Now let me ask you another question about this same area, and that is that it says there are 3 states of man or humanity or all people, man and woman, whoever, and that's there's the sort of animal state, and there's this state after that where you're trying to improve yourself, but you keep falling into bad things, and then there's this final state where you're free from
Yes.
these bad actions. But I don't agree that's true, because all humanity there isn't an animal state, in my opinion. All humanity has this state where they're trying to improve themselves,
Mm.
because as I'm sure you know or agree, that even the worst people, when they do something bad, they feel bad, and they wish the natural result is all sorts of bad things like mental illnesses and unhappiness and all these things. That's a natural state of humanity, and even the worst people are in that state. There is no animal state, in my opinion.
Right.
How
Okay.
do you
Yes.
Yes.
You see, when you will read the full answer of this question,
Yeah.
then you will understand what does it mean.
Mm.
Now, in this brief time, I will
Mm.
only give you some basic things of this answer. The thing is that what the Prophet Messiah is saying, he's just describing the actual stages
Mm.
of human beings.
Mm.
So when a person who has no regard for religion, for example,
Mm.
who has no regard for any religion,
Mm.
and he just lives his life as he wants himself,
Mm.
he doesn't accept the authority of any God
Mm.
or any teaching. He
Mm.
just say, I will do whatever I like.
Mm.
That is the stage which is called the animal stage.
Mm.
When you are not ready to listen to anybody else, guidance,
Is there
instruction.
anybody who really belongs to that state? Because as I was saying, everybody has
There is
this state within them that even if they don't accept a religion,
In fact,
Yeah.
majority of the people
Mm.
don't feel that they need any guidance from God.
No, but you see, this reproving self, maybe I've misunderstood it, there's something within that person, they try to improve themselves.
No, it's
But
not,
they
it's not.
fail.
It doesn't mean that.
Okay.
What it means that the first stage is that when a person does not feel any need for any religious teaching, and he wants to do whatever he wants to do.
Okay.
That is the stage which is called animal stage. And the second stage is when he come into contact with some religious person, maybe who himself has improved, morally and spiritually, and then when he come into contact with him and he becomes interested.
Right.
And when he become interested, then he also starts thinking, yes, you see, in fact, I'm not living the right way of life. I should listen to what God said. I'm created by God. He has given some guidance. I must.
So this reproving self is reproving according to a law.
That's right.
Because
according to the divine law.
It doesn't say that.
No, this is why I'm saying that you have to read the whole book.
Okay.
And this is what it means.
Where in the book does it suggest that this is a reproving self according to a law, rather than, as I was saying, natural urges which automatically reprove you anyway? That's what I thought it was talking about.
No, you see, it will. I at the moment, because I've not brought the reference with me.
Okay.
But
sure.
if you read the whole book, you will find it.
Sure.
That when it says that you should reprove yourself and improve yourself,
right.
It means that improve in the light of the divine laws.
Right. Okay.
That is what improvement means.
Yeah.
Not that you do whatever you like, because even if you improve according to your own understanding,
sure.
that is again your own understanding, and that you are doing. You are just following what your own conscience is saying. But this is what it doesn't say that. It says that you should also listen to what God has said,
right,
and improve yourself according to that.
I see.
Otherwise, you will never be able to improve yourself. Because if you can improve yourself without that guidance of God Almighty, then what is the need of the guidance of God?
Right.
What is the need of a prophet then? What is the need of the religions then?
Okay.
Then all the religions should be finished.
So you're giving me a better understanding of these first three stages already.
Right.
And so
so now the third stage is,
yes.
now let me go to to complete the third stage is that in the second stage you slowly try to improve yourself according to the law of God, and in fact that will take quite long time, because first you have to understand the law of God,
sure,
and then you have to put them into practice. And it is the human psychology is like that you can't do everything so quickly in one day. For example, you start learning driving.
Sure.
Although you read the laws that this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do it, but you can't learn driving in one day.
Sure. Okay.
And for some people, for whole life, they have.
That's me, by the way.
So
right.
so it means that there are different type of people.
Yeah. Sure.
So we should not expect that each and every person will be able to reach in the third stage.
Right. Okay.
But there will be some people.
Sure.
Who will be able to reach in the third stage. And what is that third stage? That is that stage when you have seen the results of the good deeds, good results of the good deeds, and the bad result of the bad deeds, and they become so clear to you that then after that you never like to do bad things, and you never like to abandon any good deeds. So you do all those things with such your personal liking and personal desire and personal willingness, and as if you are enjoying each and everything.
Okay, so you're not adding words to this book, are you?
No.
This is this can be seen when you read this book. You can get that. Okay, so I'll have to read it carefully again.
And then I have myself applied on that.
Yeah.
You see, from the age of at the age of 16 or so, first time I started reading the religious books. Before that, I was also like on the animal stage.
Okay.
You see, because I never thought about it that I need a religion or I should act upon any teaching or anything. But at the age of 16, I also, by the grace of Allah, able to meet one religious person, a very holy person. And after I, heard his some discourses, I was able to understand that no, that life is not good which I am living.
Right.
I must improve myself in the light of the teaching of the Holy Quran and example of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Okay.
And then I tried my best to act upon those things, and then I started enjoying them.
Sure.
Now this enjoyment means, for example, I give you one example, that at that time I was not saying prayers at all, or if maybe one or two, I don't know whether I was saying or not. But from that time, when I met that holy person, I wrote on my diary that today is 7th February 1964. I will never leave prayer.
Wow.
And I can tell you, up to this day, with the help of Allah, by the grace of Allah, I can say on oath that I have never left a prayer. All the 5 daily prayers. Although sometimes you have to combine the prayers, sometimes you may even say prayer late. This is all in the teaching of Islam.
7th February
1964.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So long time has passed.
Yeah.
So many things have happened, but never ever it has. And in fact, if I leave, that is hell. This is what I mean. It become hell if I leave the prayer. And not only just 5 daily prayers. Then these 5 prayers now led me to so many other things, including the tahajjud prayer. It is even 6th prayer, early in the morning before this. So now that even if you leave that prayer, that also becomes hell. It's hardly any that this even the tahajjud prayer is missed. Hardly, very rarely. And
okay.
So what I mean,
yes.
that you at the end you become you start enjoying all these action on the commandments.
Okay.
And then you don't feel any burden or any kind of difficulty. No, not at all. So this is the third. I don't mean that I have reached the third stage and I am perfect. No, I don't mean that. Nobody, in fact, in Islam, nobody is allowed to think like that.
Right.
Everybody must feel humble, and he should feel that anything, only God knows what his position is. But I am just giving you a few examples that which I have personally felt.
Sure.
Just to explain things.
Yes, I understand.
Otherwise, Allah knows better where I stand.
I should say, although it's a little bit over time, I love listening when you talk. I don't really like rushing you at all. It's just the nature of the program and us trying to make this program work for the viewers. So me and Bajra Saab have known each other for a very long time. Well, in terms of my age, that's a long time. Okay, so thank you, Jazakallah, may Allah bless you for coming, because I know you're extremely busy, and I'm not just saying that because I know he has to rush off somewhere else very far away. And thank you, viewers, for watching. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Okay. And we'll go to whyiloveislam.org /live shows to find out when the next show is. Assalamu alaikum.